What's going on, everybody? John Jay here with the Beeper. Back live again. It's February 22nd, 2021, a Monday. Tony, how you doing today, brother?
Oh, Binkers. Doing good today, feeling good. Exciting weekend. We just came off of. Another great day today when it comes to picks and things like that. A lot of good stuff to cover today. Overall, though, man, feeling great.
Feeling great. Good stuff. So we got a good amount of topics on the docket today. Just a quick kind of recap of the weekend. Had the podcast come out last night. Make sure to check that out if you haven't. It's posted all over the place on social media, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. It's on there. Instagram. It's all over the place. So check it out if you haven't done so already. We're already happy with all the kind of listeners and all the feedback we've had on the podcast. It's been very positive, very successful so far. So we're happy to have that the way it is, and we're excited to keep on pushing. So let's get right into the first topic here. Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Draymond Green. He's the talk of the town. And, being an East Lansing alum, Spartan alum, Michigan guy, I guess this kind of raises some eyebrows, especially in our department. And I actually had some coin on the game that that happened in. So I guess what are your takeaways from his actions that happened?
Well, here's the thing. I guess initial takeaways is Draymond, right? I mean, he hasn't changed, hasn't quite seemed to figure it out. But we didn't really see too many of this when he was in college, when he was playing, under Tom Izzo, that we didn't see too much of it. I mean, maybe over the 4 years, maybe one or two instances, over the 4 years when he was in East Lansing. But gee, man, since he's, came in the NBA, it's almost like he felt like he had to have this bad guy mentality to make a roster, and he's just held on to it ever since. I mean, what he did in the final seconds in that game against Charlotte, absolutely just unexcusable. You just cannot have it. If you're Steve Kerr, you kind of made a joke. I think you bench him for 40 games, which, I mean, it sounds harsh, but, I mean, if you're Steve Kerr, you got to do what you've been doing so far hasn't been working, and he just cost you a game. He just cost you a dub, cost you, a notch in the win column because he can't control himself. Okay, and I don't care how many public apologies the guy's going to make. Again, actions will always speak louder than words, and until I see you stop acting like a 3-year-old out there, Draymond, you're going to be considered a 3-year-old. And I was telling Bink before we went live, if he didn't go to Michigan State and he didn't play under Tom Izzo, he didn't win a lot of games in East Lansing, I'd probably hate Draymond Green. I'd probably absolutely hate the guy, just because of the way he acts, man. It's time after time, 3, 4, 5 instances in a year, where this happens. So I guess off the rip, that the apology doesn't hold much weight for me. It just doesn't.
Yeah, so more times you say sorry, and the more times you kind of do the same things that you originally said sorry for, the apologies tend to lose their luster over time, and that's kind of the case with Draymond here. So as everyone knows, I had some coin on the game. I bet Golden State money line. They wound up pissing the game away. Well, Draymond did. I don't want to blame the entire Warriors team on that, but yeah, he pissed it away. And then Rozier hit that buzzer beater to get it after the 2 free throws from the double tech. So we all know what happened there. We don't have to rewrite history. But Steve Kerr has also been under fire for taking some flack, kind of commenting on Draymond's actions, kind of, telling everybody that he's a fired up kind of guy. He brings a lot of heat to the equation when it comes to talking about the team. He brings a lot of tenacity, a lot of, ambition to the team. But that's not worth a lot if you can't hold your cookies there late in the game, especially in game time moments. So it doesn't really do it for me from Kerr or from Draymond.
I mean, here's the thing. You want to know who's a fired up guy. You want to know who has tenacity. You want to know who is probably the fiercest competitor that I've ever seen play any sport? Tom Brady. Do you see him just throwing hissy fits and getting personal fouls and getting kicked out of games? Do you see Tom Brady doing that?
I don't see him doing it.
No. And he's a bigger competitor than Draymond Green is, for goodness sake. So Steve Kerr, I don't like the take. I don't like the excuses you're making for this guy. It's at a certain point, at a certain point, Bink, Steve Kerr he's got to be held accountable.
Yeah, he has to. He has to be able to put his nutsack on the chopping block.
I mean,
for this guy, because at the end of the day, he's responsible for the team. In essence, he's responsible for the actions of everybody on that team. So he has to take responsibility for that. And another thing that should be mentioned about Draymond is he's not a rookie in the NBA. He's almost considered. I think you can consider him a veteran at this point. So those actions are inexcusable, and it cost him a game. I still have questions. Where the hell is Steph Curry in that game? But
I mean, I still don't think we know. I still don't think we know.
I don't think
but I'll say this: if I'm the Warriors organization, okay, again, I love Steve Kerr. I love what he's done for the Warriors. Obviously, he's won a ton of basketball games and things like that. But if I'm ownership for the Warriors, I'll tell you this: I'm pulling Steve Kerr into my office, and it's just going to be a brief conversation. It's not going to be very long. Maybe it lasts a couple minutes or two. The next time Draymond Green gets ejected from a basketball game, you're getting fined. Draymond Green's going to get fined, but now Steve Kerr, you're going to get fined. Because now the excuses for Draymond are over. They're done. There are no more excuses. I don't want to hear that he's a fierce competitor. Everybody in the NBA is a fierce competitor. Everybody in the NFL is a fierce competitor. You can't use that excuse, okay? So if I'm ownership of the Warriors, it's a simple conversation. I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm going to call Steve in and say, hey, Stevie, come on in, buddy. Have a seat. Next time Draymond gets ejected from a basketball game, that's $25,000 out of your pocket that you're paying. Draymond's still going to get fined. He'll still get his lashings. But, hey, Steve Kerr, 25 G's are coming out of your pocket. And I guarantee you this. Once that is said, you won't see Draymond Green out of another basketball game. I guarantee it.
I mean, someone's got to take accountability at some point, and there has to be a hammer that gets put down somewhere, somehow, some way. So I was listening and watching it on the First Take with Stephen A., Max Kellerman. Usually I'm not a huge fan of those guys' takes, just putting that out there. But today they made a really good point. They had a lot of good points. They were on a heater almost today, and it kept me captivated, and it kept me watching the entire episode. But Kellerman and Stephen A. both made the comparison of Draymond Green to Dennis Rodman on the Bulls. And they talked about a leader that kind of keeps that person grounded. And as we all know, Dennis Rodman had a couple screws loose, probably still does. But that was the way he was. And he was a hell of a basketball player. But someone had to keep him grounded, and that was Jordan. So when they had 48 hours, the team manager would say, okay, Dennis, go ahead, blow off some steam. They'd send him off to Vegas, blow off some steam. And then when he didn't come back for a game, next thing you know, Michael Jordan's on a flight out to Las Vegas, to get his ass, and he got him back. And what Jordan said on that team, that was his team. That was Jordan's team. What he said goes. And I really don't think Golden State really has someone like that. You'd think it would be Steph Curry being the leader he is thought to be. But someone's got to lay the hammer down on Draymond to be able to put him in his place and tell him when he's wrong and have him swallow his pride a little bit, because he's not going to do it on his own.
Well, I mean, the big thing is, man, is I think you need a guy like Draymond on your basketball team. I do. I think you need. Dre is fierce, but that means bringing in. It's a game against the Hornets. I mean, T, you're right. I mean, it is a game in February against the Hornets. It doesn't hold a massive amount of weight. But still, the issue I think that I have with it is we've seen this in playoff games. We've seen Draymond get ejected and miss playoff Western Conference games because he can't figure it out. He just can't simply figure it out. And I'm a huge Steph Curry fan. Trent knows this. Trent and I used to go back and forth, about Steph, back in the day. But I just don't think Steph is as a vocal guy that Jordan was. I think that's the one thing Steph definitely lacks in, is that vocal leadership that is needed to hone in a guy like Draymond. Because you almost have to have a bigger personality and a louder mouth to hone in a guy like Draymond. And I just don't think anybody on the Warriors has that. And I mean, if you listen to Steve Kerr talking pressers, he's a very soft-spoken guy, never really raises his voice. Now, I think if Draymond played for a guy like Greg Popovich, you'd never see these kind of issues happen. You'd never see them happen. Because Popovich will sit you down, tell you you're an absolute idiot, and he'll cut your ass. Kerr just is more of a soft-spoken players kind of coach. And I think, Draymond unfortunately suffers because of that.
And I think that's what he had at Michigan State with Tom Izzo. And Tom Izzo's a no bullshit coach, as we all know. Everyone gets a kick out of him, chewing the asses out of these players in the sidelines. A little bit difficult, more you don't see it as much now with COVID, but that's the kind of coach that he was, and he ran his team like that. So you're not going to act out of pocket and get away with it. On the other hand, playing for the Warriors, you're going to get away with a lot more, especially Steve Kerr kind of seems like a pushover kind of guy. Don't really know him personally, but he just seems like he can get away with almost anything.
He does. And again, I don't know if Draymond's ever going to get it figured out. I really don't. I don't know how many games he's been ejected out of. I don't have the exact number. I don't know. But when you start seeing it in the playoffs, when you start seeing it cost you basketball games, lose you basketball games, where the Warriors right now are fighting for that final spot in the Western Conference, a tough and loaded Western Conference, a game like that is huge. Imagine them missing out on the playoffs by a game. Imagine that happening. And it was a game that Draymond could have kept his cool, kept his composure, and not get ejected. And again, I'm not saying if he doesn't get ejected that they win the game. But I'll tell you what, their chances are a hell of a lot better than before that. Because he gave him two free throws, a double tack. He gives him a double tack in the ball, and then Terry Rozier hits a shot from the absolute nosebleeds. But Draymond, figure it out, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, even if Rozier misses that shot, you're still fighting your ass off in overtime without Draymond. No Steph Curry. Didn't see him the whole game, not even on the sidelines. So there's issues there, and there's just a lot of things missing as far as team chemistry goes. I think it was really visible, especially in that game. And we've seen Golden State face a lot of barriers this year, not even in that game, but in the previous games. So they're going to have to figure it out. Hopefully they do sooner than later, and we'll see what happens. Moving on, let's talk about Cam Newton and his exchange with a kid at one of his camps that he held. There was an exchange kind of talking about, okay, all right, Cam, your ass, you can't do this. Then Cam goes, okay, well, I'm rich, so I know what you're doing, okay. So I got a little bit of a defensive, of a exchange. Didn't really look too good on the kid, but it really didn't look good on Cam Newton for getting defensive like that and kind of even entertaining an argument with someone as young as that kid was. I think he was, teenager, high schooler. And it's just like what's going on here? So someone happened to have a smartphone on it, got some video of it, and next thing you know, it's all over the radio waves, it's all over social media. And that's kind of what you got to expect in this new age of technology. I say new age, but it's been around for 10, 15, almost 20 years now. So you kind of got to be wary of that when you're getting into exchanges and holding the type of caliber of an athlete that you are as Cam Newton. I'm not saying Cam Newton's an amazing athlete by any means, but he has accomplished quite a bit. He's came a long way. And the best part about this was, and I found this to be really funny, and this is just yet another bone to pick I have with ESPN, is they had the audacity to post all of Cam Newton's, aspiring accomplishments in a graphic on Facebook today. I don't know if they were feeling bad for him or what they were, but we got to kind of call out Cam for what he is. I mean, at a certain point, at a certain extent, I don't agree with what this kid said and how he said it, but he is right to a certain extent. Cam Newton is not the athlete that we saw at Auburn. He's just not. And, even when he played for Carolina, I think he's done a pretty steep decline. Even after that injury, maybe that injury did him in. It's tough to come back from those kind of injuries, but it was just, I don't know. It was a mess. It was a mess to say the least.
So okay, this might be a little bit of a long tangent that I go on. Okay. So the initial video comes out of this kid screaming at, Cam Newton, you're a free agent, you're a free agent, you're a free agent, you're a free agent. Okay. Then you hear Cam fire back in the video, well, I'm rich. Everything that the kids say, Cam would just answer back of I'm rich. Okay. Couple things off the jump that I have an issue with. One, I don't know what the issue is with being an NFL free agent. I don't know how that's degrading by any means. I don't know how that's a kick in the shorts. Okay, because if you're an NFL free agent, I mean, you're better off than 80% of the people in this country. Okay, so that's the first issue I had. The kid's argument was absolutely horrible. You're a free agent, okay? Okay. I mean, what is that a not? Again, that's my first issue. Second issue was Cam's initial reaction of I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. That seems to be the only thing he said. He asked to talk to the kid's father. Now, what a lot of people don't know is the event that was going on was a Cam Newton 7-on-7 camp. Cam had put the entire thing on. He didn't charge a nickel for any of the teams to be there. I'm not saying it was a charity event, but it was a really nice event for kids who might not be able to afford to go to some of these big 7-on-7s that take place throughout the country. So I didn't like Cam's initial reaction either of, oh, I'm rich, I'm rich, I'm rich. Now, that's really the only video that a lot of people saw for a while. Okay, that was kind of the initial reaction, and it looks horrible on Cam Newton's part. Looks absolutely horrible. Okay, well then there's another video that surfaces. John, I don't know if you saw the second video or not. There's another video that surfaces of Cam and the kid talking. Cam and the kid actually hashing it out, and Cam says in the second video, like, hey, I wanted to pull you aside and I wanted to pull your dad aside so I could have a conversation about you and what we can work on the field, off the field, what you need help with. Maybe I can shed some light. Maybe I can shed some guidance, this and that. So that's the second video that not a lot of people see. And again, I'm not sticking up for either side. I'm not. Because again, Cam's initial reaction of, oh, I'm rich, Cam, everyone knows you are. Everybody knows you are. Okay? No, it's not a secret that you made more money than most of us combined. Okay? But I will say there is a second video where Cam is trying to talk to the kid. Cam is trying to help him and give him some advice, and the kid's just flat out not having it. Okay? The kid is he's trying to be a troll. He's trying to, he's making a big joke out of the thing. Okay? So I'll say this. I'm going to leave my initial comment, my filibuster at this. If I have an opportunity to talk to a professional athlete, whether it's Cam Newton, whether it's, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's a fourth stringer for the Green Bay Packers. I don't care who it is. And I'm a kid. I'm in high school. I'm going to take every opportunity I can to pick that guy's brain, to figure out what I got to do as a player, as a kid, as a student, as an athlete to get to where that kid's going, or to get where that athlete has been. This kid didn't do any of that. This kid just, for some reason, decided to rip into Cam Newton and bash Cam Newton for really a reason that I haven't seemed to figure out yet. Again, could Cam have handled the situation differently? Absolutely. Could the kid handle it differently? Absolutely. He's a kid. Okay. At the tail end of the second video, they squashed the beef. I really challenge the people out there who haven't seen the second video, go watch the second video. It's out there. You can find it. Because it really kind of shed a little bit more light to me, but really odd exchange between professional athlete and probably 15-year-old kid.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see that other video, but it sounds like that's kind of the ending of the story to a certain extent that people need to see and that might not get reported on. People want to see the controversy, and that's what they get.
And unfortunately, though, that's what they got there. And if I'm that kid, I'm doing everything in my power to have just 5 minutes to talk to Cam Newton to figure out, man, what do I got to do? This is a strength. This is a weakness. How do I build this? But to just bash Cam for really no reason, and again to yell at Cam, oh, you're a free agent. I mean, John, I don't know about you, but me, if I was an NFL free agent, I wouldn't really take offense to that. I mean, I'm so
I wouldn't either. I guess the only offense that I would take is that I haven't really found my spot with a franchise that I'm solid at. kind of like he had. I don't even want to say that he had this with the Patriots, but he had it in Carolina, where he was their guy, he was the quarterback, and he was the face of that franchise. So maybe he's kind of sad that he was that at some point. And he was even the face of Auburn while he was there. So he once that kind of might have hit a soft spot with him, knowing that he's not in that position with any team now. Yeah, see, I agree with you. A kid was extremely out of pocket. Should be at the camp to learn the game, not from Cam to chirp. Yeah, I mean, it's a mess from both sides. I guess let me ask you this, Tone. If you were Cam Newton in that scenario where you're getting chirped and you're having one-on-one scenario or a one-on-one conversation with a 15-year-old kid or whatever age he was, in probably closer contact than you'd ever get in touch with or have to talk to anybody ever, especially on the field or off the field, how would you react to that kid's comments?
So it's super easy. It's super easy for me to sit here and say, "Oh, well, I would have walked away. I would have walked away." That's the easy thing to say. That's the easy thing for me to say right now. If I'm sitting there and I'm Cam Newton and there's this kid that's in my ear for 5, 10, 15 minutes, you're a free agent, you're ass, because he's on there saying that, you're ass, you're a free agent. That. I mean, at a certain point, I don't care who you are, as a man, you're going to react, okay? Now, would I have sat up there and told the kid, "Oh, well, I'm rich, I'm rich"? I don't know if that's, again, but it's easy for me to say I would say that. But Cam kind of dove into the reason why he wanted to talk to the kid's father. He wanted to pull him and the kid aside, to kind of, talk to the kid, say, "Hey, man, you really can't be acting like this. If you want to play collegiate athletics, if you want to do A, B, and C, you can't be acting like a fool like this." To me, to be a high-profile athlete like Cam Newton is, and to say it would be easy for me to walk away, I mean, it would be tough. It'd be tough. I don't know. I don't know how I would react, I guess. You'd like to say you could walk away, but I mean, how much can you get pushed before you're going to react?
You see, I would not walk away. I mean, obviously you're built and you're put into a hypothetical corner in a scenario like that. So I guess the best way that you can kind of, react to that is kind of take that father figure route where it's like, come on, like that's really disrespectful, man. Like I'm Cam Newton. You can't really be talking to me like that. You guys know better. Because then that really makes the kid feel like, damn, I'm really a dickhead, But at the same time, it doesn't make Cam Newton look like a dickhead. So it's a little bit of a diversion tactic, which is a lot harder to do than to chirp back at him, especially knowing what you've been able to accomplish and where your stature is at and where you currently stand in the NFL, what you've been able to, do so far in your career. It's hard to say that, hard to swallow your pride and be humble in that moment. But I think that is the only way that you walk away from that scenario higher than the other guy.
Well, I mean, here's the big thing, just to, I guess, wrap up a topic. At the end of the day, Cam Newton has won a national championship at Auburn. Okay. He's an NFL MVP. He's the leader in passing yards for an organization. And he's played in a Super Bowl. So regardless if Cam is the same player that he was 4, 5, 6 years ago, that's irrelevant. At some point, we all start to decline, right? We all do, except unless you're Tom Brady. But for this kid to just attack a guy who's done things that less than 1% of the population is ever gonna do, to me, it's just not a good look.
Not a good look. Really not a good look. So yeah, let us know what you guys think about this one. Kind of a controversial issue, controversial topic. It's still ongoing, so it will be anticipating to see how it pans out. I think it should be noted that the kid did release a letter, kind of apologizing to Cam. And which he should have. He should have.
Hopefully he learns from it.
But I think it just goes to show what people are willing to do, especially when they know cameras are on them. They know the stakes are higher, and they're gonna maybe act out of pocket compared to how they usually would. Because we got to think off camera that this kid is idolizing Cam Newton. He's not just being like, oh, I don't know. It surprised me that he would even act or react to Cam in that way, in that environment, regardless if cameras are on him or not. So just kind of goes to show how the youth is nowadays. The parenting might be a little bit off, so got to be watchful for that. Let's move on a little bit, though. Deion Sanders wins his first game as the coach at Jackson State. Wins 53-0. I'll pull up the box score right now. We'll kind of talk about that one for a little bit. So, really good stuff by Deion.
I mean, just kick the piss out of him, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a completely different part of his career that he's been able to accomplish different things and, add to his resume. So it's really impressive stuff. Deion Sanders is a great guy, both on and off the field. Done a lot for the game of football. And now I'm glad that he's able to participate in the game of football as a football coach in the collegiate level. Now, this is FCS, so, not major league schools going on, playing games here, but still college nonetheless. So what do you got to say about Deion, what he's been able to do?
I mean, listen, to me, the biggest takeaway, so, Deion Sanders coached his son before at his son's high school. He was a head coach there. I think they won a few state championships. His son is now joining him at Jackson State, I believe, next fall. He's going to finish out his senior year this year, and he's going to be there in the fall. But the big thing here is I'm tired of hearing people say high-profile athletes cannot be good and successful coaches, okay? Deion Sanders is going to thrive at Jackson State. And let me tell you this. Deion Sanders is not going to be there too long because you're going to start seeing some big-time Division I programs, FBS, Power 5 schools calling Deion and saying, hey, how about you hop up a level? The guy knows the game better than most people ever could. Okay, he's a DB, he's a defensive guy. Okay, right? I mean, we could all venture and say Deion's a defensive guy, right, John?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, so you see what that score is next to Jackson State?
Do 0. I see it? I see it.
I mean, so you think the guy knows how to coach defense? I mean, the phenomenal first game for him. Super happy for him. And listen, I'm gonna follow Jackson State. I tried to bet on him. I couldn't bet on him. I don't know if we're gonna be able to bet on the FCS games. But really good stuff out of Deion in his first win over at Jackson State. I might have to get I might have to get a Jackson State hat.
You might have to. I think that would be right, especially for Deion. And yeah, I mean they've been shown to do a lot. Let me take a look at the box score here. 18 for 20.
I mean, just a fish.
Is that catches? Is that C?
No,
catches?
No passing.
What's that C all about?
What's it say? C what?
C
I can't even read it. I can't really read that.
C/ATT.
Completions against attempts.
So yeah, it is passing. Those are so I gotta throw ESPN under the bus again. So they're dropping the ball. I tried to find the box score on ESPN. They did not have it. So I had to divert to Google, which Google has it. They tend to. I don't know who's running the sports department over there at Google, but they're doing a hell of a job. I follow live scores. A lot of times, the live scores are actually more reputable on Google too than ESPN. So it kind of speaks on the sports world and the sports media broadcasting world a little bit that ESPN might need to step it up.
Right.
And their website's terrible. The app shows different scores at different times based on what screen you're on. So it's just like what are we doing here? I mean, it's supposed to be the hub of sports in the sports world, no matter what sport it is, no matter what division. But someone's dropping the ball over there in their IT department. So I don't know. They got to figure it out. I mean,
don't know what's going on. But listen, I don't know who Jackson State has next weekend, but I hope I can bet on it. I really hope I can bet on it. So DraftKings, MGM, Bovada, give us an opportunity to throw some coin towards Deion. Come on.
So let me ask you this, Tone. So why is the FCS playing football right now when it's not football season?
So they canceled. So all FCS teams canceled their football season due to COVID in the fall, and they pushed it back to the spring. Okay, they push it back to the spring. A lot of FCS teams outside of North Dakota. I mean, there's a few that play in the shit. But a lot of them, are down south, like Jackson State, for example. A lot of the FCS teams are in warmer temps so they can play in the spring. So every FCS team will be playing this spring. Some aren't playing at all this year. Some have canceled it completely. But at least we have some football going on right now. I just wish we could watch it.
I know it's tough not being able to watch it. I don't even know if you could stream it if you tried to, but it's a lot of. I mean, just to have football going on right now, I think is a blessing, and it's not Canadian football, so we can kind of watch it without 50 million people going moving forward in the backfield. Yeah. So it's interesting. So good stuff. We'll move on to the Gin picks. So let's talk about the Gin picks a little bit. As everybody knows, we started off with, as many games, as many teams as we want to bet on. And yours truly bet on, I think, was it 10 games the first day?
I mean, you bet like 40 games the first day.
40 games, and I lost 85% of them. So I started off on the wrong foot, I guess you could say. But listen, it's very early in the season. There's still a lot. Excuse me. There's still a lot to happen. There's a lot of games that are still underway. We still have the entire MLB season, which will be a lot of firepower. Hockey just started, which we're getting into, and then NBA has recently started up too. So there's a lot of sports going on, a lot of sports coming up. So we're really excited about it, and
fired up.
Yeah, really interesting format. We post the records and post the picks every single day. So use those at your own discretion. Kind of take those into account. Put your own analysis to the test and see what you guys can do. So we're even introducing guest picks to beat the pros, and there's going to be a new one every week. So feel free to reach out to us if you haven't done so already. Reach out to us if you want to be our guest pick of the week. We do those on Wednesdays. We'll post the picks that our guests make, and then we'll post the record. And then there'll be there'll be a record ongoing, rather, for the fan picks combined compared to our record. So you're at a slight disadvantage being able to start a week after us. You don't really have those losses in the loss column. And Mr. Sobolewski put you in a really good position.
Yeah, I mean, he set you up. He set you up for nothing but success. But listen, a lot of fun so far. Right now I'm 15-11. I think I have 6. Do I have 6 games out today?
Do you? Let's pull up the tweet. So let's pull up the tweet.
Normally I'm like a 4 to 5 pick kind of guy, but I think I kind of went a little ballsy today. I got 1, 2, 3.
5.
I got 5 out today. So that's normally my wheelhouse. It looks like Duke -5 absolutely demolished. Let me look and see where I'm at in the hockey world, I guess.
Yeah, so you kind of dive into the picks. See how Carolina's doing if you can.
Yeah, I'm going to dive into where we're at.
We both got Carolina +1.5. The NBA games have not kicked off yet, I don't believe. Maybe there was an 8:30 tip-off that I don't know about. But I have Miami money line, the LA money line, and Portland +6.
I took the Islanders money line. They're tied 1-1 end of the second. So I'm still, hopefully they can pull that one out. Carolina's tied with Tampa Bay 2-2 at the end of the second period. So we're looking good on that one, Binkers.
Okay.
Obviously, Vegas and Colorado is my third one. I took Vegas +1.5, which absolutely blows my mind that they were given that against Colorado. So I'm looking good so far. So is John. John's looking good so far. Let's look at the NBA. I don't know if too many teams have tipped off so far.
I don't think anybody has.
I have Houston money line. They're down by a point against Chicago right now. Who do you have? You have Miami money line. They tip off at 9. You have the Lakers money line. They tip off at 10. And you have Portland +6. They tip off at 9. So John decided to pick every single West Coast game in the book. So we wouldn't know what the end result is until tomorrow morning. But the NBA.
Now, what can I say? Okay, come on.
I know. I'm not going to bag on you too much for it. NBA. So Houston actually magically somehow just went up by 4 points in about 6 seconds. So ESPN, I don't know if that's a typo or what's going on there. And
it's
then
a 4-pointer. That's what it is.
I took Duke money line. I don't imagine that. Duke's up by literally 1 billion points right now with a buck to go. So, Bink, I'm looking good right now. I'm just saying, I'm looking good.
You see the Islanders to cover, and you need Carolina's looking good. Houston's right there. And then who's Vegas got? Who's Vegas playing tonight?
Vegas has Colorado today. I think puck dropped at 9:00.
That's going to be a tester game. So
but a puck and a half.
Puck and a half's a puck and a half. But we've seen a lot of 7-2 games. I mean, that's easily over a puck and a half.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible to see that happen.
Nick Banks, nice stash. So Nick is one of my finance bosses at work. And listen, he's jealous. He wishes he could have a stash like mine. He's got this little ginger beard thing going on. I don't know what's going on with Nick. But listen, everyone hold the comments. I know I have a nice mustache. I know I do. Okay. Some say it rivals Tom Selleck's. That's fine. I get it. Okay. You don't need to keep stopping me in the streets, stop me at the gas station, stop me at the coffee shop. I know I have a nice mustache. It's on my face. It's on my top lip. Okay. If anybody knows it, it's me. Okay. So relax. Hold the mustache comments. It's not going anywhere.
How long you plan on keeping that mustache?
Till I kick the bucket.
Till you kick the bucket, huh?
Till I kick the bucket.
We might have to. So I know you have a bet right now to hold the mustache for as long as you can. I think there might be a bet in the future to where that might possibly be shaved. I don't know.
Really?
I think so. I
mean, do you want to see it gone?
It's not that I want to see it gone. It's just more or less the fact that you like it so much that it would please me to see it not on your face.
Really?
I don't know.
I mean, John.
I mean, it pains me to say that, but come on, we got to keep.
That's kind of.
You already got the shot collar going around your nuts, so it's like
I do.
Got to make it interesting, right?
I do, and I don't know how that's gonna work. I mean, we got to order shot collars. What we got to do?
Oh, we'll order one. Don't worry about it.
Hop on Amazon.
We'll get on Amazon, get it primed. We'll get it to us. Get it to us really quick. So let's kind of wrap it up here. Let's talk about your gin and tonic for this week, Tone, and then I'll kind of dive into what I think I'm going to do mine on.
Yeah, gin and tonic today, a little bit different. I'm not going to release the topic because I want it to be a surprise for you guys out there.
Oh, you're not?
I'll say this. It is another PSA. Okay, so this is a public service announcement. This is for the people. This is for you. This is for our followers, our fans, our loyal people, because you guys deserve this one. You deserve it, and I'm going to give it to you. So I'm not going to release a topic. I'm going to let John, I'm going to let John release that to you guys tomorrow. But just know you guys have earned this. You deserve it, and I'm going to come through for you.
Sounds good. So I'm not going to release my topic either. I like keeping it interesting.
Wow, we're keeping both tight right to the vest.
We're just keep them all the way to the vest. They're gonna be under my bulletproof plates that are underneath my vest. So keep in touch with our social media for that. We'll keep you guys posted on everything like right there. I'm gonna drop the banner for our Twitter. So right now we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. Periscope is Twitter's live stream source. So go follow us on there. The stream can be found on there too. It'll be saved after this for all of our viewers that don't see the stream live. So make sure to check that out. Follow us on Twitter. Give us a follow. We would really appreciate it. We might even follow you back. So
maybe.
I mean,
depends if you're worthy.
Depends if you're worthy. If you're very invested with what we got going on, if you're about the vision, if you have the vision that we have, then we'll probably follow you back. I mean, come on. It's not going to be. We're not going to hold you to trial on this. No. It's not going to be like the Salem witch trials where you're going to be going to the gallows. But it is what it is. Tone, I'll let you wrap up whatever you got. What do you got left for these people?
Thank you guys for another fantastic showing on tonight's live stream. Catch us in 48 hours on Wednesday. Gin and tonic tomorrow. Special topic for you guys tomorrow. Remember, bet with your head, not your heart. And always bet with gin.
Bet with gin, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and have a good night.